there, I'm Cheyenne.
And I'm Juan.
And we are
Down with the Dominguezes.
Oh my gosh.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Cheyenne Dominguez, and I'm here with my other half.
Juan Dominguez.
And it took a little bit for us to get organized this evening and get set up, because we're not only on audio, but if you're listening on Spotify, you can watch our video cast. And of course, I like to look nice on video, and you don't really care.
It's got nothing to do with appearance, folks. I was cracking up about how I'm kind of like the diva, and I just show up for these things.
Yeah, and I like it to look nice.
You do a lot of prep work and a lot of stuff, and
yes, and right now I'm upset that it's great. Right now I'm upset that we had a really nice plant behind us, a beautiful like potted tree plant, and you asked me to move it. I don't know, a week or two ago. And now I realize now that we're recording, I don't have my beautiful potted plant in the video cast behind us.
I have to disagree.
And it bothers me. I like that potted plant.
It was between us. It looked like a plant separating us. Sometimes it was behind us, and it looked like Sasquatch. I think
it was a beautiful plant.
I think we're much
and everyone likes greenery. Okay, everyone likes greenery. Okay, but we're moving on. Because yes, thankfully, we're moving on without the plant behind us. So you won, okay?
I wore green in honor of the plant. Go ahead.
I have no plant, but that's okay.
Okay.
I did my hair. So how was your weekend?
Oh, it was great.
We had a really nice weekend. And you made a little comment about this weekend, about how it's nice that you weren't stuck at home doing stuff around the house.
Honeydews.
I guess, yes, doing a honeydew list, and that a lot of guys especially are tasked with a honeydew list at home on the weekends.
So we thought, what an excellent idea for a podcast, because if you can picture the scene, it's like a movie. It's dawn in America, Saturday morning, and many men, particularly if you're a homeowner, have a honeydew list. And from dawn on Saturday to dusk on Sunday, you don't really have a weekend. You are doing things around the house and around the yard.
I do see a lot of our neighbors and friends doing a lot of talking about a lot of handy work they're doing or have done. And I see them doing a lot of yard work and lawn work too.
Yeah.
Which you don't do.
You wonder why I don't. And
yes, but you have to tell everyone. So this goes back to your childhood, because there is a great story about when your father tasked you with some little bit of landscaping, yard work, very simple tasks.
I was like 13. My dad would leave for work at 7 in the morning. He'd get home around 6 at night. And we had, shrubs, and we had a big pine tree. And imagine that area near the house where you might put mulch. Into these,
or gravel or something.
Gravel.
Yeah.
Well, he bought some gravel, white limestone gravel. I remember it. And he said, "Hey, you want to make a couple of bucks? Spend, however long it takes you today, and take this gravel and spread it out over these kind of shrub areas, amongst the bushes, on the ground.
Spread the gravel out.
And the pine tree." And I'm like, "Okay, Dad, I got it." And of course, I'm a little OCD, and I'm like, "Oh,
a little."
So there's this big pile of white limestone gravel, and I took them. Imagine, one at a time, I started putting them down and spacing them so as to have enough gravel. Because in my mind, I looked at the pile of gravel, and I didn't think we had enough. So I was doing it one at a time, and it was backbreaking. It was like July. I was sweating.
So if you're listening or watching and you didn't get that, my husband Juan is laying out gravel one pebble at a time, literally.
And my dad came home at 6 o'clock, and he looked at me like I was.
And you've got like 2 square feet done.
I was so proud. I was so proud of this like 3 square feet area that I had done. And he came and looked at me like I had like a horn growing out of the top of my head. And he shook his head out of disgust.
You're not the sharpest knife in the drawer.
He took a bucket and he went over into the pile of gravel and got it and spread it out over like a bush.
He threw it out there?
And in like
he was done in 30 seconds.
4 minutes he was done with the whole thing. And I looked at him and he just shook his head again, dropped the bucket and went inside and went to dinner. I felt so inept. And I don't think he paid me. Actually, Dad, you still owe me like $5. So yes, that was kind of, I think, the first sign
that was the foreshadowing
that I might not be handy.
that you might not be the right person to call.
Yep.
When we need stuff done around the house or in the yard.
Yep, very true.
Okay. So, but I wasn't around at that time.
That's right.
But I do remember when I first realized you couldn't be left alone to do handiwork at home.
Yes.
So it was the first home we bought together.
Right.
Outside of Philly. Yeah. And you had said you wanted to fix the dimmer switch in the dining room.
Yes.
So the dimmer, a standard dimmer switch, you turn it left, right, it gets darker, gets
Right.
lighter, brighter. And you were going to fix it. And interestingly, your father is a electrical engineer
He is.
by training.
And he's quite handy.
And he's quite handy. So you didn't get that gene, the handy gene.
The handy manny gene.
But you thought that you did maybe for a minute, because you said you were going to just take the dimmer switch apart, put it back together, fix it, put it back together.
Sure, how hard could it be, right?
And so I saw the process you went through.
It was a great process.
You took the dimmer switch apart and you actually set out each little piece of the switch on the dining room table.
Yep.
In the order with which you had removed each piece. And there were a lot of little pieces there.
There were.
And then you did something,
Well, then I put it together.
and then you put it back together.
A little problem.
And you put the cover on the dimmer switch.
Yep.
Yet
Ready to go.
there were still, and said it was ready, but there were still like 5 pieces
Well, you had
left
about 5. I
that
think it might have
never
been one or
went back in, that were still sitting on the dining room table. And I just thought, I'm not an electrical engineer, but that didn't pass the common sense test for me.
And lo and behold, when we tried to turn on the light, it didn't work.
It didn't work.
I was shocked.
Surprise!
I was
You were shocked.
Frankly, I was shocked.
You were shocked.
It's like,
It
why would
didn't
you
work.
need all these pieces?
Yeah, and then we called an electrician.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
he made fun of me.
He
'cause
did.
He said, I saw your husband's jacket.
That's right,
And
because you were working for
yeah, a company that you would think.
a company that has electrical engineers on staff.
Yeah.
And he said, I thought your husband worked for a company that, knows about this. And I started to answer him, and then he goes, oh, wait.
He must be
in-
management.
He must be in management, huh?
He
And I
must be
said,
management.
you got it.
Yep.
You got it.
That was it. So dimmer switch didn't work. And then we were still in that house, and
You tried to replace the bathroom faucet. No, not even the faucet. You tried to replace,
the little,
I don't even know what it's
it's
called.
called like a little filter. It's like a mesh filter.
Where the water actually comes out of the faucet, there's a little mesh piece there.
Right, and the mesh piece sometimes
broke.
no, it accumulates little debris,
Okay.
over time, chemical, the water's alkylated or whatever it is, and
And you were going to
replace it because the flow had come to
diminish.
diminish.
Okay.
And
We're going to replace the mesh in the faucet
that's it. It's a 5-minute job at the most. And I looked at
for
a
someone
YouTube
else.
video, and I can turn a 5-minute job into a 5-hour job.
You certainly can.
And it was 10:55 at night, and I was like, I should probably wait to do this. Like something in the back of my head. Oh my God, 5 minutes, 6 minutes tops.
Might as well just get it done.
And I got in there, and I cleaned the thing out, and I put it back in, and I adjusted it, and I'm like, turned on the water.
The water
Oh, my face.
flying out at you.
Flying
So
out.
needless to say, you didn't replace the mesh filter
I
properly.
stayed over that faucet for 2 hours, sweating and getting aggravated. It was like 1 in the morning, and finally I said, you know what? That's why you have 2 bathrooms, because
This one's out of
this
use.
one's
This one's
getting
out
you
of
sick in
order.
This one,
Yeah, this one's out of order.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, that was the end of you being allowed to even attempt any
I think
handiwork.
that's
at home.
2009.
That was a long time
Yeah,
ago.
yeah.
And there have been a few other little hiccups like that along the way. So
Well, I told you
no more handiwork. Juan is not allowed.
I told you really quickly, I got that stereo component when I came back from the Gulf War. It was like my
Oh,
first
that's
big
right.
purchase. And back then it was like $1,000, right? With those towers, and it had all the different components and the equalizer and this and that. But it came out of the box. You had a you had to put it all together.
You had to assemble
You had to
this
assemble
and
it,
probably wire it
Some
together.
wiring, and I was all psyched on a Friday night. And
Didn't it come with an instruction manual?
yeah, I followed the instructions, and I spent hours on that thing. I plugged it in, I hit the power button.
Nothing.
Nada. Nothing.
And that was like the purchase you were looking forward to making and having. You were, what did you say? You were not going to be without music again.
I was never going to be
after the
without
war.
music after the Gulf War. And I went to bed. And I don't know, it's always about something sweating. It must have been like in the summer, but I was there, you know, and couldn't get it to work. And I went to bed, and somehow, some way, I woke up the next day. I was ready to throw the darn thing out the terrace window and just say, forget this. And I hit the play button again, and magically, the gods were with me. It turned on.
It was your gift for going to war for our country.
It was the one thing that finally worked. That I put
The stereo system decided to miraculously work.
Yeah, it was like a gremlin. I remember thinking it was like a gremlin, but anyway.
Oh my goodness. Well, now the upside is.
The upside is when I pull.
You don't ever get a honey-do list.
When I pull out of the
I
driveway.
usually save it for your dad when he comes to visit.
That's true. That's true. When I pull out of the driveway on a Saturday morning, and all of the men across America are working on that honey-do list, I am going out for a run or coaching basketball or doing something, because I am just not handy.
There you go. So maybe this is all a trick. and other men can learn a little lesson here.
I would say that the advantage that they have is they probably save thousands of dollars.
This is true. We have spent a lot of money on very easy fixes.
Almost down to replacing a light bulb.
Yes. Yeah. You did say we should call someone to replace these light bulbs. And I said, no way, I will do it myself.
I thought there was a trick.
A trick to replacing a light bulb?
Well,
okay, you see what I'm dealing with here.
Yes.
All right. Well, have a great weekend, everyone. And I hope that your honey-do list is very small.
Especially if I'm involved.
All right. See you next time.